Okay, we're going to start with the nation. Naira customers overwhelm banks with cash demands. Picture here of amalgamation of Fulani groups endorse Tinubu. Southwest leaders back Tinubu, commend APC on power shift. Polls tips Tinubu to win. Pipeline vandalism, oil theft hurting economy. Buhari meets Ethiopian Airlines over Nigeria Air. All right, let's start with which story?
I'll do the major headline first.
Okay.
So many commercial banks were overwhelmed yesterday by huge cash demand from their customers. Said thousands of Nigerians who had been starved of cash for weeks raced to the banks in Lagos, Ondo, Ogun State, as well as Abuja, and they were hoping on the Central Bank of Nigeria to release the old 200 Naira notes into the ATMs, as well as the new 500 Naira and 1,000 Naira notes. There was a lot of anger caused by the scarcity, and so they said in Ogun State there were rounds of protests. 4 banks were burnt during the violence in Shagamu, which is the state's 3rd largest city, and 30 of protesters have already been arrested by the police. And, you know, customers were struggling so much to deposit the old notes that they had with them. But then the CBN was saying that they still have up to April 10 to deposit the money back into the various branches. So in many branches said the customers were seen sitting on the floor waiting for their numbers to be called by security officials for them to get into the bank. He said most ATMs, especially in Lagos, was not loaded yet with cash at all. So customers were just waiting. Some banks were able to pay. Said in some banks you would withdraw from 20,000, but then as a lot of people keep coming in, then it reduces to 10,000 and 5,000. However, 3 financial institutions assured the CBN and commercial banks that they will make the 200 Naira old notes available to banks. So the unions are the Association of Corporate Affairs Managers of Banks, the Committee of Heads of Operation of Banks, and the Committee of Chief Security Officers in banks. And they are saying that even with this internet issues that we're having with our platforms when you're trying to make transfers, that with time it will ease. We should just be more patient. They are appealing to the government to ensure that there are a lot of security people manning most of the banks to avoid all of this violence that is happening.
All right, so Southwest leaders met yesterday at a co-hotel and suites. The convener, Mr. Prince Tajuddin Olusi, had promoted Tinubu, saying that he promoted democracy, good governance, and economic development in the country. And there were Yoruba leaders of thought, and there was also congratulating the governors for insisting that power shift comes down to the south to promote unity, belongingness, and equity amongst others. They addressed the APC candidates and others, saying that indeed it is time for power to shift to the south, and they were collectively endorsing the APC flag bearer, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, yesterday. In that story in the nation, who has the Ethiopian Air?
I have that, but let's talk
vandalism. The Minister of State of Petroleum Resources, Chief Timpere Silva, has attributed the loss of revenue from the crude oil production to theft, pipeline vandalism, and decayed infrastructure. He said this through his senior advisor on media and communications, Mr. O. Horatius Igua. He was just talking that the pipeline vandalism, the lack of crude oil is due to the theft, vandalism, and poor infrastructure.
Okay. So President Muhammadu Buhari has encouraged owners of Ethiopian Airline to discuss the final takeoff on Nigeria's new national carrier. We've been talking about it for a while now. So he said that things would be all right. He's expressing his confidence. The president spoke during a meeting with the Gema Wake, Ethiopian Airline board chairman, who was accompanied by Ms. Fintaswe, Group Chief Executive Officer of the airline, and Daniela Bebe, Group Vice President, Strategic Planning and Alliances, on the margin of the 36th African Union Summit in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. So they made a statement and they said, that's according to Garba Shehu, saying that this was a weighty decision to start up this airline. And Wake initially had requested for a resolution of the legal obstacle which has been stopping Nigeria from carrying out or from commencing operations of this airline. He also requested that their funds that is trapped in the country because of these foreign exchange issues should be repatriated back to their country. And they said Nigeria has treated them well, that's Ethiopia Airlines, since for over 60 years that they've been here. So they don't just consider Nigerians as business allies, but almost like family. And so they are looking forward, they are ready, since they own about 49% of this Nigerian air. They're looking forward to having a fruitful relationship, and they are ready to commence activities immediately. Nigeria sorts out the case in the courts.
Okay. The Punch. 4 days to polls. Naira chaos grounds economy. Latest poll puts Tinubu ahead of all. Petrol rose by 55% to 257 Naira to the liter, and in January it says NBS. Okay, which story are we starting with in Punch? There is not much.
I'll do the petrol.
Yes.
Said that many Nigerians are still paying far above 185 Naira per liter approved pump price of petrol amid the fuel scarcity. This was a report of the National Bureau of Statistics, and they said that they observed the Major Oil Marketers Association of Nigeria and NNPC retail outlets sold the products for 185 per liter to consumers, while members of IPMAN, on the other hand, were selling between 200 Naira and 250 Naira per liter. So it was a statistics that they put together of how it has risen across the different states. So the report noted that the average price in January 2023 was an annual increase of 54.52% and a monthly increase of 24.70%. He also said that the price the consumers paid for the premium motor spirit for January 2023 was 257 Naira per liter, indicating a 54.52% increase relative to the value recorded in January 2022. So it was just, detailing, and they categorized it according to different states, the Southwest, the North. However, the North had the lowest, the Southwest and the South-South had the highest in terms of percentages. And they're saying that if we don't have enough fuel being imported, we may still be stranded again, and there will be a lot of vehicles waiting at the filling station to get fuel. All
right, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with our reviews. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. All right, we're going to continue with Daily Sun. Major headline, new opinion poll gives Tinubu victory. Health workers' patience groan as Naira crisis worsens. Elections, CDS holds emergency meeting with service security chiefs. Alleged 3 billion Naira fraud, court dismisses AFCC's counter affidavit. Grant Ali Bello others 500 million Naira bill. INEC restrained from using MCLO more in distributing election materials. And INEC won't let Nigerians and the international community down, says Yakubu. All right, so there was a poll conducted by Freedom Services that tipped the flag bearer of the APC, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to be the victor on Saturday's elections. According to the poll, 4 variables were used: political geography, religion, resources, and class were used by the team of data analysts who were able to get about almost 370,000, about 287. They sent out 370,000 questionnaires. 287,000, a little over that, responded, of which 37.2% projected and voted for, or projected Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, while 32.1% projected Peter Obi, and 30.7% projected Atiku, and 0.23% projected Kwankwaso. So they are all still in the 30% range. It still makes a really close race.
Very close.
From this, it still shows that Asiwaju is still the most preferred according to the survey. And various variables, and it was done across the 36 states. This wasn't a sectional poll that many others had been. This was quite across the 36 states. And they were done in different languages: Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, and various other local languages. And it was organized, also focused areas to spread across the political parties. So it was a bit more accurate than the other ones we've seen the most. But either way, We'll know the real results this weekend.
After Saturday, yeah. So the Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabo, said the armed forces, police and the security agencies were battle ready to give a bloody nose to any person or group of persons who may want to scuttle the electoral process. So he gave the warning yesterday when he met with service chiefs and head of security agencies in Abuja and promised to provide a conducive environment for the general election so that we have a crisis-free election. So he was calling on Nigerians to go and cast their votes for the candidate of their choice without fear of being attacked, that adequate security measures have been put in place to protect law-abiding citizens. And he also assured the elections will hold, like INEC has promised, and we are going to definitely have an election. So after the meeting, said the meeting lasted about 2 hours, and then he came out to brief journalists. And he went ahead to, talk about what has been happening so far, that they are ready for the elections. INEC is ready for the elections. The DSS is ready. The security agencies are ready. Everybody has been briefed. They know what they're supposed to do to ensure that we have a crisis-free and fair elections.
It might end up being one of the safest elections.
Yeah.
I really hope so.
I suspect.
You have any story, YK?
Yeah, the 17 people were rescued alive as a passenger capsized.
Oh, yes, I heard. In Lagos.
Near Third Mainland Bridge. They were coming from Ikorodu, and when they got near Third Mainland Bridge, they both capsized. But the Lassa were able to
water management
rescue
service, yes.
all 17 passengers, and then there, of course, investigations are ongoing.
As to what could have happened.
As to what could have happened, yes. But we thank God that they were rescued, you know. It's a terrible death.
All right. Vanguard, Tinubu leads in closing poll as Obi Atiku trail. Naira redesign mops up 1.8 trillion naira from currency outside banks. Elections, U.S. Embassy alerts Nigerians in their citizens in Nigeria on possible protests. Polls, courts restrains INEC from engaging MC Park Committee. Nigeria records 85 Lassa fever deaths in 6 weeks, says NCDC. Alleged 3 billion naira fraud. Court grants Ali Bello, 3 others, 500 million naira bail. Okay, which story are we starting with there?
I was going to take $2 million was recovered from the earthquake. While they were trying to rescue people, they brought out this money. $2 million.
Oh, that was in Turkey?
In Turkey, yeah, sorry. I didn't... they've had 2 devastating earthquakes. One was 7.5 on the Richter scale and 7.8.
Right.
And the president has described it as the disaster of the century, and people are just coming around. And apparently, the Ghanaian footballer, he died in the earthquake as well.
Yeah, I had seen that report earlier in the week.
Christian Atsu. I'd heard that a footballer was there, but I didn't hear that he died, so I was really devastated to read it, I heard that they were even burying him. I didn't even know it was the earthquake that he died in. Very sad.
So Justice Obiora Iguatu of the Federal High Court yesterday granted bail to Ali Bello and 3 others in the alleged 3 billion naira fraud suit that was brought against them by the EFCC, ruling against the counter-affidavit by the EFCC. The judge held that the charges against the defendants were bailable, and it was to enable the defendants charged with the offense to prepare adequately for their trial. So the bill was about 500 million naira, and that was what happened yesterday. Okay.
Yes, so the implementation of the Naira redesign and withdrawal of old banknotes by the Central Bank of Nigeria has sucked about 1.81 trillion from the currency outside of the banks, while crashing currency in circulation to 1.4 trillion January 2023. So this development is in line with the policy plan of the Apex Bank. Financial experts are, however, saying that this would cause a rise in inflation, and this is contrary to what we're supposed to be working towards our economy. But the CBN said that the old 500 naira and 1,000 naira notes have expired as legal tenders from February 10th, but they are going to be stocking the banks with the old 200 naira notes, which people can still use.
When?
Now, they have promised that they will start that, so hopefully from today we should see that in the banks. But they are saying that you have a chance. So if you have not redeemed your 500 and 1,000 naira notes, you still have one chance to go to the CBN website and get a code to go and redeem it, and you're allowed to redeem it just once. So you're not coming several times to redeem. So gather all your money, get that code, and go to the CBN. You can also redeem in banks. If it's less than 500,000 Naira, you can redeem them in banks. If not, you have to go to the CBN, but you must get that code. That will also help reduce the traffic in the CBN and the banks as well.
Okay, I was going to take, nobody has the NCDC story. Nigeria recorded 85 deaths from Lassa fever in the first 6 weeks in 2023. That's across 20 states and 79 local governments, according to the NCDC. That's really staggering. I mean, 85 deaths already in 20 states. That's something. They just noted that cumulatively from the week 1 to week 6, these deaths have caused about 16%, of which is lower than the CFR for the same period in 2022. That's this time last year, it wasn't that high. They also said that the number of new confirmed cases had decreased from 106 to 5 in 2023. About 68 cases has been reduced from 106 to 68 cases by the 5th week in 2023. Okay, let's move on to the final paper. This is the Nigerian Tribune. Mbeki to INEC, success of elections depends on you. Naira redesign article accuses APC governors of provoking anarchy. Election closure of universities by NUC illegal, says Afe Babalola. Banks torch as Naira scarcity protests rock Shagamu. A new opinion poll predicts Tinubu's victory, Obi article trail. Okay.
Yes, so founder of Afe Babalola University, Ado Ekiti, Are Afe Babalola SAN, has faulted the National Universities Commission for closing down universities in the country for the 2023 general elections. So we know that the federal government had given a directive that schools be closed for the election period from February 22nd to March 14th. And, you know, it's not going down well with Afe Babalola. So he's saying that it's illegal. If you want to affect the economy of the country, if you want to bring down a country, you attack their education. And this is what is happening, that he would have suggested they bring a lot of security operatives to man the different universities. That's also assuming that we have enough security operatives to man the universities. He mentioned the fact that most of the students don't have enough money to go back home. But I'd rather they find a way to go back home, do the elections at home, and then if it's Gary they're drinking with their parents, at least you know that the family members are together, because we really do not know what is going to be the outcome of the elections. I would not be comfortable having my children in school and I'm here and elections are ongoing. So okay. I'm sure the universities had to factor some of these things in mind, and it's just for a few weeks. When they come back, they will mark up. Yeah.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.